Muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos al cierre de los mercados en Primera Página Televisión, el espacio donde revisamos el comportamiento de la Bolsa de Nueva York y los mercados de la integración Nuam. Iniciamos esta emisión anunciándoles que ya cerraron operaciones bursátiles las bolsas internacionales y vamos a revisar cómo le fue a Wall Street durante la jornada. El primer título en descender es el Dow Jones, que finaliza con una caída del 0,15% en 48.463 unidades. Por su parte, el Standard & Poor's 500 aumenta 0,80% ya sobre los 7.000 puntos y por su parte el Nasdaq también aumenta más de 300 puntos, un 1,60% en 24.016 unidades. Les cuento que el Standard & Poor's 500 alcanzó un nuevo máximo histórico este miércoles tras subir 0,8%, impulsado por el optimismo de los inversores sobre un posible fin del conflicto entre Estados Unidos e Irán. El índice amplio suma así 10 sesiones consecutivas en 11, consolidando una fuerte racha alcista. El mercado ha ganado impulso esta semana ante la posibilidad de un acuerdo diplomático tras declaraciones del presidente Donald Trump que apuntan a que la guerra está muy cerca de terminar. En este contexto, los inversores han retomado posiciones de riesgo, apoyado un avance semanal del 3% en el Standard & Poor's 500, más de 4% en el Nasdaq y cerca del 1% en el Dow. El sector tecnológico continúa liderando las ganancias, con Broadcom subiendo 3% tras ampliar su alianza con Meta Platforms, aunque persisten dudas sobre el cierre definitivo del conflicto y la reapertura del estrecho de Hormuz. El mercado ya descuenta un escenario de desescalada, lo que ha llevado a los principales índices a niveles récords. Tras revisar esta información, veamos cómo cerraron los mercados de la integración Nuam, iniciando con la Bolsa de Valores de Colombia, que en la sesión de hoy registra caídas del 1,48%. Vemos que el primer título en descender la sesión de hoy es CIBES de la acción preferencial, que bajó 1,94%, seguido de Grupo Energía Bogotá, que retrocedió 2,71%, y Grupo Argos, que también bajó 2,19%. Por su parte, acciones como por ejemplo Back Holding International, Grupo Aval de la acción preferencial, Enca, Promigas, fueron las acciones con mayor desempeño, siendo Back Holding International la de mayor desempeño en 2,50%. En noticias del mercado colombiano, les cuento que Grupo Aval informó que PÉREZ Standard & Poor's Global confirmó la calificación AAA estable a 4 de sus emisiones de bonos ordinarios en el mercado local en el marco de su revisión periódica. Las emisiones corresponden a los años 2016, 2017, 2024 y al programa de emisión vigente. Las confirmaciones suman más de 1,5 billones en instrumentos de deuda, consolidando a la compañía dentro del segmento de emisores con la máxima calificación en el mercado de capitales colombiano, respaldando su perfil crediticio y acceso a financiamiento. De otro lado, Banco de Occidente proyectó una inflación del 6,2% al cierre del 2026, junto con un aumento mensual del 0,73% en abril, que llevaría la variación anual a 5,62%. El informe también anticipa que el Banco de la República elevará su tasa de referencia en 50 puntos básicos hasta 11,75% en abril. La entidad prevé que el ciclo de alzas continúe hasta 12,50% al finalizar 2026, mientras mantiene su proyección de crecimiento en 2,7% para este año. En materia cambiaria, estima un dólar cercano a los 3.500 en el 2026 y a los 3.600 en el 2027, por debajo de las expectativas del mercado. Siguiendo con las bolsas que integran Nuam, el turno es para la Bolsa de Comercio de Santiago, que vemos que hoy tiene una variación negativa del 0,19% en 11.314 puntos la sesión de hoy, recordando que en la sesión anterior había logrado cerrar por encima de los 11.000. Vamos a observar cuáles fueron las acciones que influyeron dentro de su comportamiento, y el primer título en cerrar negativo fue Cencosud, con una variación negativa del 2,59%, seguido de la Sociedad Química Minera, que retrocedió 1,78%. Falabella cedió 1,42% y Colbún bajó 1,34%. Por su parte, acciones como por ejemplo la acción de Mall Plaza, Salfa Corp, Senco Malls y Banco de Crédito de Inversiones fueron las 4 acciones con mayor desempeño, siendo Mallplaza la que ocupó el primer puesto en una ganancia del 2,60%. Y en otras noticias, Antofagasta Minerals reportó una producción de 143.000 toneladas de cobre en el primer trimestre del 2026, lo que representa una caída del 8% frente a las 157.000 toneladas del mismo periodo del 2025. La disminución se explicó por menores leyes de mineral y una reducción en las tasas de procesamiento en sus principales operaciones. Pese al retroceso, la compañía mantuvo su proyección anual entre 650.000 y 700.000 toneladas y anticipó una recuperación gradual a lo largo del año. El desempeño estuvo marcado por caídas en faenas como Los Pelambres y Centinela, en línea con el plan minero y condiciones operativas del periodo. Y ya para finalizar, vamos a darle paso a la Bolsa de Valores de Lima, que hoy finaliza también con caídas, lo que nos permite concluir que Nuam hoy finalizó con retrocesos en la jornada. Colombia en rojo, Chile en negativo y por último la Bolsa de Valores de Lima con su principal índice tuvo una variación negativa superior al 4%, bastante considerable, 4,25% en 51.717 unidades. Por su parte, el índice SELEC, que reúne a las 14 acciones más cotizadas dentro de la bolsa limeña, también finalizó con caídas superiores al 4%, 4,26% en 1.324 unidades. Vamos a observar cuáles fueron los títulos de menor desempeño en línea con ese resultado bajo en la Bolsa de Valores de Lima, que como podemos observar son caídas bastante considerables. El primer título en bajar es Credicorp, 10,64%, seguido de Intercorp Financial Service, que finalizó con una caída del 9,90%. Nexa Resources Atacocha descendió 8,47%, PPX Mining Corp bajó 6,63% y Volcán Compañía Minera también retrocedió 5,97%. Como podemos observar, caídas superiores a el 5% por lo menos en las primeras 15 acciones dentro de la bolsa limeña. Por su parte, acciones como por ejemplo Coril, instrumentos de corto y mediano plazo, y las mismas ETFs que hacen parte de Coril, pues finalizaron con avances muy leves, inferiores al 1%, el mayor fue de 0,16, apenas fue muy leve para lo que normalmente la bolsa registra en una actividad del mercado bursátil. En otras noticias les cuento que la actividad económica de Perú registró un crecimiento del 2,68% en febrero del 2026, de acuerdo con el Instituto Nacional de Estadísticas e Informática de Perú, con un avance acumulado del 3,61% en el primer bimestre y de 3,44% en términos anualizados. El desempeño estuvo impulsado por sectores como el comercio, construcción, manufactura, transporte, servicio de gobierno y alojamiento y restaurante, mientras que pesca, minería e hidrocarburos y el sector financiero mostraron resultados negativos. Por segmentos, la construcción creció 8,90% y el comercio 6,06%, destacándose como los principales motores de la actividad. La manufactura avanzó un 2,74%, apoyada por el sector no primario y electricidad, gas y agua, que subieron 2,99% por mayor generación y distribución. En el agro, el crecimiento fue de 0,71% con expansión del componente pecuario y contracción del agrícola, reflejando pues un desempeño mixto, con un desempeño mixto entre actividades productivas. Así las cosas, les cuento que las elecciones en Perú todavía continúan, ya se ha hecho todavía el conteo de estas elecciones presidenciales que se llevaron a cabo el pasado 12 de abril y que todavía están en ese proceso de elección para definir qué candidatos van para segunda vuelta. Es importante mencionar que ya llevamos más del 90% ya se llevan más del 90% de mesas contadas en este país y que pues digamos que lo que ha variado entre un día y otro es que Roberto Sánchez pasó a segundo lugar en los resultados parciales de las elecciones presidenciales. Recordemos que este candidato es de izquierda. En la jornada de ayer, cuando se había llevado más del 70% de mesas contadas, el primer lugar lo estaba llevando Keiko Fujimori con más del 16%, ya lleva más del 17%. Sin embargo, el segundo lugar se estaba debatiendo entre Rafael López Aligara y pues entre Roberto Sánchez, siendo así ayer que digamos que la derecha estaba liderando como los dos primeros lugares. Sin embargo, luego de seguir contando esos votos hasta hoy, el panorama cambió y ahora se debate entre la derecha por Keiko Fujimori y la izquierda por Roberto Sánchez, esperando que de pronto en el día de hoy pues finalice la jornada de conteo y se pueda definir exactamente qué candidato es el que queda elegido para la segunda vuelta, teniendo en cuenta que los tres primeros candidatos a llegar a alcanzar esa segunda vuelta pues tienen resultados bastante parciales. Se toca esperar entonces a que se termine todo ese conteo para definir exactamente quién se lleva ese segundo lugar para pasar a segunda vuelta presidencial. Luego de revisar el desempeño de las bolsas de la región, ahora ponemos la mirada en Venezuela para ver de qué manera finalizó el IBC en la jornada hoy. Como podemos observar, el índice bursátil de Caracas hoy rompe esa barrera de varias sesiones a la baja. Hoy finaliza con una variación positiva del 2,83% en 5.554 puntos. Por su parte, los otros índices que la componen, es decir, el financiero y el industrial, también finalizan con variaciones positivas. El índice financiero del sector bancario en una subida del más del 2,99% y el índice industrial del sector manufacturero también aumentó 2,17%, teniendo en cuenta que recientemente el Banco Central de Venezuela por fin pues fue tomado en cuenta, dejar de ser sancionado por los Estados Unidos, y eso claramente pues da una perspectiva positiva para el sector financiero, y el índice financiero, digamos, que mostró ese resultado el día de hoy. De otro lado, les cuento que el secretario de Estados Unidos, Scott Bessent, respaldó el proceso de reincorporación de Venezuela al Fondo Monetario Internacional durante las reuniones de primavera en Washington. El funcionario señaló que el organismo trabaja para que el país vuelva a aparecer una economía normal en un contexto de reintegración al sistema financiero internacional. El respaldo se da en paralelo a la flexibilización de sanciones por parte de Washington, incluyendo licencias de la OFAC que permiten transacciones con el Banco Central de Venezuela y entidades estatales, así como operaciones comerciales con el gobierno venezolano. Estas medidas buscan reactivar el flujo de divisas, facilitar la inversión y avanzar en la normalización financiera, mientras el Banco Mundial también participa en el proceso a través de iniciativas en energía y apoyo a economías vulnerables. Muchísimas gracias a todos nuestros televidentes por acompañarnos en esta emisión de Primera Página, el canal de los negocios. Nos vemos en una próxima oportunidad y los dejo con este análisis económico.
Curing disease, think about it. CRISPR Therapeutics is curing sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia, one and done.
Exactly.
And I think we ask analysts about this as we're interviewing for genomics analysts. We said, what do you think about this? Thank you, Miguel. Oh, it's gorgeous. Thank you.
Welcome. Today we have Katie, founder, CEO, and CIO of ARK Invest, one of the leading asset managers in the world, and certainly one of the top managers in the disruptive technology trends that we see in the world. As you know, ARK Invest has gathered a lot of attention and of course, assets in global markets in recent years. And we are truly excited and honored to have you here, Katie.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here, Miguel. And it's my first trip to Peru, and I've just loved the people here. So very exciting.
Excellent.
Yes.
I'm very happy to hear that it's the first. I hope it's the first of many.
Yes, yes.
So this is a conversation we wanted to have with you, very, very brief and to the point. One of the things that we see in ARK is the innovation, the disruption, not only the products that you invest, but in the concept of ARK. What were you seeing when you started this company, this effort, that other managers in the industry were not seeing?
Well, it was interesting. I started my career in the 80s and 90s, and uh, the seeds for the technology revolution that is taking place today were planted back then. And after tech and telecom bust in the early 2000s, and even more so after 08, 09, we saw risk aversion and fear entering the market, and we saw a move towards passive strategies and benchmark sensitive strategies. I felt, and the reason to start a business is to fulfill an unmet need. And what we believed was the technology revolution, that the seeds had been germinating for 25 years, 25 years, and that they were about to flourish in a technology revolution. So the market was moving one way, and we said, we need to start a company that focuses exclusively on technologically enabled disruptive innovation, because very few people are doing that now. And our research, our original research, is more like the research that investment bankers did during the 80s and 90s than anything we see now. So we give our research away. One of our missions and values is to educate people, not only for investing, but for their personal lives, to get on the right side of change.
And this is um, very familiar with an exchange, which is a public market with this, usually champion of transparency, and the fact that you lead an ETF company and with active products, with transparent and passive instruments in a world with, passive management, um, also takes that in this context, right? Because by essence, it's sort of you meet a market that is based on transparency and information, of course, education. This knowledge doesn't get close, it's not enclosed. You put it into the world, and I think it's very interesting.
Yes, and I think our investors love the fact that um, they are taking the journey with us through our research, which we give away, but also because ETFs, and we're so delighted that our 6 US ETFs and 4 UCITS are being listed here in Peru. In the United States, and I believe here as well, ETFs have to disclose their holdings every day,
Yes.
so that investors can take the journey. They can see the changes in the portfolio over time, as opposed to waiting 6 weeks after the end of a quarter to see what a portfolio manager and a portfolio team have done.
Effective. That's incredibly effective and brings confidence, right? And I think it's
Yes.
incredibly important. Now, these 10 new instruments that are listed in Lima, how do they match with the main trends, investment trends you see in this market?
Yes. Well, our flagship involves exposure to every one of our innovation platforms. So, artificial intelligence, of course, robotics, energy storage, blockchain technology, and importantly, multiomics technology in the healthcare or life science space. So we think that the biggest revenue generating opportunity from AI during the next 5 to 10 years is autonomous transportation of all kinds. We think the most profound application of AI is in healthcare.
Yeah.
So the flagship, ARKK, involves all of those. And then we have more specialized portfolios. One is the multiomics technology oriented portfolio, ARKG. It may be called the genomic revolution. It's different in different geographies. And another one is our autonomous technology and robotics strategy. So again, more specialized. Another is the next that one is ARKQ.
Mhm.
Another one is ARKW, which is, we call it the next generation internet, although I think we're evolving that name now. It includes everything AI and cloud, and also fintech and exposure to digital assets, or what some people call crypto assets. We also have a usage strategy, which is different from those others, and it's called AI and robotics, because that convergence is becoming very obvious now as robotaxis, which are robots,
Mhm.
start taking off. And as more and more people understand that humanoid robots involves the three same technologies as robotaxis. So robotics, obviously, energy storage, and artificial intelligence. So the convergence of those ideas.
They go together, right? So if you are following the genome story,
Yeah.
right? You see all these new discoveries in the CRISP
Yes.
space, but it's fascinating. Things that took 10, 20 years of research now are getting faster. And with AI, the process is getting faster. So it builds to the whole story. You see what is developed with fintechs and now with blockchain and tokenization.
Yes.
It's amazing the potential that we have to improve the current processes. And certainly, seeing, the opportunities for robotics, not only in terms of efficiency, but in a world in which the world is aging, right?
Yes.
So it's new trends that I think is incredibly a powerful tool to have it at hand.
Yes, and I think you mentioned CRISPR, gene editing,
Mhm.
in the genomic space. I don't think people understand quite
It's fascinating.
yet how important this will be to healthcare. It will transform it completely, and yet it's not well recognized in the markets. We probably are best known in that space because we're doing the research. But curing disease, think about it. CRISPR Therapeutics is curing sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia, one and done. One and
Exactly.
done. And I think when we ask analysts about this, as we're interviewing for genomics analysts, we said, what do you think about this? And in the beginning, they were a bit afraid, saying, the big pharma companies will lose their annuity.
Cannibalization
But,
concept.
but now, as we're putting more research out there, this is going to be so much more valuable than what they're doing there.
Plus, you have the opportunity to these incredibly fat tails of, unfortunately, diseases that it's a fat tail. So there's no critical mass for big companies to look into because there
Exactly.
are other priorities. With these new technologies, um, it can expand and transform the world, like we have seen in other parts of in other industry, like I don't know, like financial industry, technology, construction industry, chemicals. So it's a very interesting story and fascinating story, the one you bring with ARC. Now, this story not only about long term, right? You have volatility, and since you are very transparent, you are always in the mouth of everybody, and everybody, of course, it's fair. Everybody has an opinion. How do
Yes.
you handle the volatility and this? Because sometimes it's hard to remain firm in the conviction.
Yes. Well, because our conviction is based on our research, many people think we have a lot of courage. The courage of our conviction is because of our research. And so, in terms of volatility, the first thing we do say to investors is yes, we're volatile relative to other indices. Other indices are much more broad based, much more, they're not just focused on technologically enabled innovation. Volatility, many people think of it as a measure of risk. We do not look at it that way,
Mm.
given what we do. We think it's a measure of uncertainty. And our research gives us more certainty about the longer term outcome of these new technologies. So I think first acknowledge they're volatile. Very good diversifiers
Mhm.
for traditional benchmarks. Why? Because our portfolios are all about disrupting the traditional world order. Well, the big benchmarks
On the
are,
built on the old models, the old volatility.
that's right. The stocks at the top there are based on past incredible success. But if every sector, industry, company is going to be disrupted by these five major platforms, there are some value traps
Exactly.
in the broad based benchmarks. We are a hedge. And if you include our portfolios in your broader based portfolios, or maybe even your raw materials portfolios, which I know are very important here, if you include our portfolio with some of those other portfolios, risk adjusted returns go up over time because they are not highly correlated with
Exactly.
one another.
This is very interesting. I remember many years ago when I was in school, in my evaluation class, my professor told me, risk is where you are in the distribution.
Uh-huh.
Uncertainty is you don't know distribution. And since you are building on the market of the future, it's a new distribution. So it by itself will diversify portfolios by construction.
Absolutely.
It's very
And, just to finish off on the volatility question, um, because of what has happened since the tech and telecom bust in 08, 09, and all the volatility now around Trump administration's uh, policies, many people assume that volatility is relevant on the downside. Volatility on the upside is a very good thing.
exactly. You don't have return if you don't have risk volatility. You
Exactly.
have to be compensated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's fascinating how the whole story get together, right? Very quickly, the opportunity for countries like Peru, Colombia, Chile. We are more on the commodity side. What very briefly, what do you think about the opportunity for us?
Yes, we believe that these 5 innovation platforms, this technology revolution, is going to accelerate real GDP growth around the world. So we've been at 3% for 125 years. We think we're actually going to 7 to 8% during the next 5 to 10 years. That will demand more raw materials, especially here in Peru. I've been learning a lot more about copper, but I already knew a lot because in autonomous transportation, which will be electric, very copper intensive. Data centers, very copper intensive. So with this accelerated growth, we think the opportunities in mineral and raw material rich countries are going to be very, very good.
Fascinating, and yeah, there are no major announcements of new mines coming online in the short term. So it's quite interesting globally
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
and especially for countries like us. Just to wrap up and finish, you mentioned many concepts that are the analytics, the story, anticipation, building the market of the future, courage as well. What will be your three lessons for, in terms of shaping the path of many of the leaders that are actually watching us in this video?
Well, very importantly, understand we are in a technology revolution. And so it's very important for leaders of companies to develop a sense of urgency around it. And the Chat GPT moment was very important because it has done that. We see a lot of leaders now. I'm talking about C-suite, not the
Yeah,
technology
not the
officers, but
geeks.
no, but the C-suite saying, "Oh my gosh, this could mean the difference between, moving ahead and taking share or losing share if we don't get this right, or becoming less profitable or more profitable, becoming less relevant or more relevant." So I think that's the most important message I have. And, you know, uh, don't ignore these technologies. They're and especially don't ignore them because they're converging and they could change your industry completely. Autonomous transportation is not about the internal combustion engine
No.
anymore, right? It's about robotics, energy storage, and AI. 3 platforms converging. And I think in the financial industry, of course, blockchain technology, it's imperative to understand it, to use it to lower cost structures, also to understand how it will enable agentic commerce, agentic transactions, without a human in the loop, right? So, I think learning not just about the technologies, but how they're converging and how leaders might be able to use them to their benefit, lowering costs, creating new products and services, increasing productivity, critical.
I think it's incredibly important to recognize we are riding the wave where we know it or not,
Yes,
right? Whether we
absolutely.
like it or not, but we are on the wave.
Or you're going to be left behind.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. No, but very, very insightful experience, perspective, lessons that you share with us. We do have a quick, not quick, a small present for you. Um,
Oh.
it's a little piece of art that we um, um,
Oh.
make for you. It is a picture that shows some very Peruvian elements and exchange elements. So you have, of course, the bell of the bell ringing, which is
Yes.
welcoming good news into the market. And then you have three ancient Peruvian elements, right? So you have this vision with, of course, the mountains, which are sacred in the Peruvian tradition, the sun, which was the main god of the Incas, and they gave us light,
Uh-huh.
right, to discover knowledge. Um, you have the condor, all over the Andes and gives you the vision. You
Yeah.
have very good view, right,
Oh,
to see their targets.
wonderful.
Um, you have the Jaguar, which is courage, the willingness to take these opportunities, and the Serpent, which will give you the anticipation and the resilience. These are all elements of the Andean culture,
Oh,
and we
it's
connected with
beautiful too.
with the present.
It's
So
absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Miguel. Oh, it's gorgeous. Thank you.
I hope it doesn't take much space. I know you are in a very
Eh,
intense roadshow across the region,
yes.
but yeah,
No, we will hang this up in our office in honor of my first visit to Peru
fantastic.
and to
Thank you.
BVL.
Well, we are honored, as I mentioned, here in desde el Ticker, this space that we built in Lima Stock Exchange, BBL, and Nuam. As I mentioned, we're honored to have you here, and we're sure these products, um, beyond the products, this concept, this idea take hold and start to enrich the investment landscape in Peru and transform our lives as well.
Wonderful. We're happy to be on the journey with you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Katie.
Thank you.